Today is November 21, 2022, Rio de Janeiro City, Rio de Janeiro Federative Unit, Brazil. We will launch our communication signal because indeed it is a bit more difficult to trace if you are doing the creation, the development, using our imagination, preparing the future and the tomorrow market for a better way as achieve happiness. And sometimes these annoy people, people get mad with things like this. And if we complain, we probably will have no reason. You say that you are insane, alumnus, you consider yourself a living god or something like this. And if we are using, for example, a mobile that has no access to the internet, totally outdated, wrecked for sure, only to have our thoughts organized here. And sometimes people will consider that is very clever and very smart, putting this an optimization, considering having real-time monitoring of things that you are kind of using as imagination. Can you picture the Disneyland, which was the topic of today, without the imagination? It will be a disgrace. It will be some Cambodia or something like this. But Brazil do not get along with happiness, especially other success. It's something, that you must abandon here and abandon this place for sure. Because people indeed continue and it's a spread the disease. The corruption affected we all in a diffuse way, but not equally affected by the corruption. It's something quite clear. Some or many or all of you got along with that by a bit of stimulus, a plate of meal, or a piece of meat at your military headquarters. This is the reality of facts. Risk Report 2022, 3 November .blogspot.com. We had complained before at least by two top chairs, one global company and the other the American the State Department of United States, that America will lead some way. The other, the executive officer, told that the one specific company must be essential some way. You have no ways or have no objective point to achieve the way. You consider the purpose of your mental model at that time. I work at this too. The other thing, I could observe that the corruption in global scale gone always inside areas regular, because took advantage of failure and prepare kind of a system on it. This model here allowed us to get this. It's the American grid, Operation Third Wind reviewed for Law and Order review to put the top level on jail, because they do the hiring process, contracts, and the overprice is all based on their silence. The director is clear. It's the Blind Eye Association as angle stone of transnational organized crime. Blind Eye Association, organized crime, transnational organized crime. Blind Eye Association, corporative area, public departments. Treasury unit failure, affecting your company, which will do the tax evasion, and you will have a duplicity of laws as collinearity, which is the double counting as loss, less income as taxation, plus the evasion as tax that you do for the crooks along with you. And you had no courage to talk about this, none of you, because not you all can't be considered me. I'm mostly alone. I'm the unique creditor with total legitimacy to charge and talk what I'm talking. Structural gap, debt, credit on your personal financial accounts, supply and demand on your markets, investment saving curve, liquidity money curve, not balanced by the similarity between offer and equivalent numbers at your economy. Go as conjunctural failure, corporate, government, states, failures inside on it, exposed, violating premises by intention as lack of will, which do not act, or have the continuity by silence as use, not enough information, or discard the enough information you have by a purpose that violates premise sets area as a structural failure. Structural failure presented like this as the normal distribution using Gauss curve with a humble model can put the circles in the middle of a square because the failure area inside the square only goes inside the square. This is something, obvious, too obvious. And the taxonomy of COBOL optimized regular area, failure, criminal intent with the overtaking as regular area. Can be your company, your institution, and others. Similar case we had as division unices. Similar case we have as division political parties, micro and macro, Fibonacci pattern, fractal behavior in global scale, pandemic mobilization of local crime accord with transnational organized activity by purpose that you can apply in our area, since you had something common as failure in our areas by corruption, a universal crime. The moment is on middle, yes, I think, Aragon, something like this. And this model here, which is the regression, considering the cross-cut, the interval, we will work today with three things. First one, the strategy. If you are having, for instance, the struggle about something, in America like this, we will first think of all the division, side A and side B. If, for instance, you have your Federal Bureau of Investigation here, and the Department of Justice in the United States considering all courts, and they two both are linked with the National Treasury USA handled by the government that has failure, probably you will consider that the failure on it is the real judge, and then you will put them out. And all claims or complaints will be an income as something here. Confirmed. It's the first strategy that you have as Trojan horse strategy. The second one, you have the integrity, or common on Russia or something like this. You have the common integrity of your homeland, your department. You will set failures on it, taking advantage of failures by empty intervals, having association here as not line, despite presenting as line, uncovering the view as counterintelligence, USA, Federal Bureau of Investigation as department. Then we will, it's enough, it's how our model works. We will have the issues on our blog, Risk Report 2000, any problem? And we will check that the first post at the top is Cgqm stepping out of this craziness. Of course, that may be I will not stepping out forever, or it's kind of my drug, this crack in some way. It's independent effort, self-defense and others by law and under constitutional conformance. You violated all this, couldn't support your reasons by law, because there are no reason or excuse to be a criminal inside the department, except the institutional weakness. Goals are the most serious issue inside the plan, more reliable than the plan as itself. In general, contextualized circumstances form a chain reaction and the original plan do not exist anymore, but goals can keep all operation planned even without a plan. This happened with you once, congratulations, because this only goes with highly skilled trained individuals. It's the human resource, it's not the outsource. It's the human resource, it's prepared by your institution to be the institution. People that makes not only the difference, but especially sense in all things we have and feel. My heart was stolen, so I can't have plans about my feelings. When I see a movie makes sense to you, and for instance, shouldn't have sense for nobody if it's something that has no connection at the internet. But if you all got the sense about this, you all are at the debtor system. Cut. Maybe you are inside our leak circuit, kind people sleeping during TV show. Payroll 37 trillion, 9 billion may charge. Fees and costs against institutions with offenders inside. We will charge the institution. The institution must have a regression against the offender. It's not a problem anymore. Privacy and industry. This space here is where I do the place where I do my things, all things, including my research. And I use computers, mobile. You violate this, my email account, you violate the research. It's an industrial project, you committed industrial crime and economic espionage. You had the history that nobody should have because it has no connection. You are fraud, my friend. You must send to jail and got hot in there. Creation, prospect, development, and dreams about tomorrow market was complained in America. The market, we are there to segment the market. The problem is the market, we are forgetting and having the ideas about tomorrow market, Professor Kotler. It was requested to the judicial power have the case consider application of legal fees at the payroll included the financial penalty which imply a death proof, no intent at all as legal accomplishment or even stop this legal activity that is monitoring your life for nothing. To steal data, steal intellectual asset, or put you as a criminal offender, a lot of things. I'm not this time with this. And financial plan is confirmed by contingent plan that you must have, for instance, to save life of someone on Asia, and especially executed under pressure, especially if it calls of other lives. If it has calls of other lives, and very special moments as private life dialogues or unique moments. Victim changed, offender remains the same. See, it can be a simulation, but it's not because indeed you are caught with the hands in the act. It's named Blazing Act. The economic and financial theories about control budget, bonds, inner fails, and control evidence the creationism you have. As you can observe, any doubt? No. See? All my values must be delivered by the judicial order. To this judicial power have the order and set the judicial account, having all things there, accounts, research, the origins, it all okay. And transfer my benefits by fairness circumstances, consider how competitive players got serious affected, not only by corruption, but having yet management of misery in our ways, disgrace, and everything complained and faced it, mostly alone. With me, since the first complaint I have the US defensive system, am I telling a lie? And the Federal Bureau of Investigation, am I telling a lie? You can research my mail one more time. I sustained it all in many moments by them, because we could have that model. If the government fails, they fails, the society falls. I'm stepping out, but I'm tired now. I'm stepping out with the result as security plan, which is a judicial rule, dismissed before criminal trial, because you have no legitimacy to do a conviction with criminals inside your judicial system. from causal document to protect the self-respect at your institutional system. If the order fails by systematic mistakes, indeed wasn't a fail. It's systematic, Chicago School. Had intent, and it can be stopped before a pandemic problem, which is do not have legal accomplishment, you do not have to respect the credit or the legitimacy of things. We're back to a primo and savage era one more time. It's not fair, with me at least. And had intent as pandemic problem. Am I playing these two? No, I'm the victim. I'm not a living God, but since you failed, and you failed badly, you suffered. The charge is a diffuse area, affected all but not equally. And the interests affected are huge, as we told you before. Cgqm creditor by law. No excuse to do not get my entire benefits. It's around billions. Then we'll check that there is a last thing. We have 60 minutes enough for we both. The most relevant thing in the post below is that if we consider that the neutral jurisdiction as procedure can exist and was applied, but was applied by areas that had the accomplishment of all things as respecting human rights, and will apply against the violence perpetrated at the human rights and things like this. An area that has no accomplishment with nothing has no legitimacy to apply, because indeed they do this at the homeland, the regular area. They respect nothing. There are no jurisdictions. It's the world that you'd like to set to the next generation. See? But if you consider that can exist the misuse as neutral jurisdiction by reversal logical sense, you consider that has the existence as regular use of neutral jurisdiction, since you have total accomplishment with guarantees and a lot of things. And the investor proof, take a look at the blog. Have a good night.